it. So question number 1. Which of the following professional activities is a real estate broker or agent most likely to be directly involved in? So, they're most likely directly to be involved in holding real estate as an investment, regulating the use of real estate, transferring real estate ownership, or D, destroying existing improvements. So let's go through the answers. The first one is holding real estate as an investment. They might, but this question is asking you, what are they most likely to be involved in? What are they most likely to experience right now? And I think that the best thing that I could say about that is that they're most likely going to be involved in the transfer of real estate ownership. So the correct answer there is C. They're not going to be involved in the regulation of the use of real estate because that's going to be to your police powers and to your your local municipalities, your state government. So they're not involved in that. And destroying existing improvements, they're probably not most likely to be involved in that. So C, transferring real estate ownership, is the best answer. The next one. The distinguishing feature of commercial property is that A, it is not occupied by the owner-user. B, it has the potential to generate income from its use by a business. C, it is held by its owners primarily for its investment value. Or D, it houses multiple tenants. So, again, this is a process of elimination, and you're going to have questions like this on your exam, and this is national material right here, so this could go for any state. I'm going to stick with that for my Saturday morning kind of, calls like this, my live streams. I'm going to stick to that. So, number 2, I'm going to say that commercial property, the distinguishing feature right here is that it is B. It has the potential to generate income from its users. Now, the other ones, again, could be answers. However, if we were looking at the feature that distinguishes commercial property, I would say that B is the best answer that you could give. Because, again, we're looking not for the a good answer. We're looking for the best one out of the ones that are given. So, number 3. An important reason for a real estate salesperson or broker in a large market to specialize in a geographical area is that A, large market. Can you center the page, please? Let me see if I can. It looks pretty centered to me, but I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I could do, because it looks like all the words are there. If I do any kind of changing to it, you're not going to get all the words. So this is the I can't center the. Actually, you know what? I think I can center everything, but I don't want to format this right now. Only because it might change things so that I can't even read it. So I'm not going to do that just yet, and I'm going to work through these kinks. Again, I told you guys when I was going live that this is a work in progress right now for me. So using this technology here to go live and display my desktop, this is a new thing for me. So I'm working through it, and I'm trying to get you the answers as best as possible. But it looks like I could see the screen as best as possible, so that you could get the most answers on here. Again, it's not going to be picture perfect, but I think that it's going to be the best that we have. So let's talk about number 3, which is an important reason for a real estate salesperson or broker in a large market to specialize in a geographical area is that A, large market areas have usually been divided up geographically by competing brokers. No, that is definitely not it. Okay. B, customers generally identify brokers with the area immediately around their offices. That's not a good answer. C, geographical specialization is the only legal way to organize a business. Absolutely not. So let's think about D. It is difficult to maintain adequate market knowledge on a large area. Yeah, I like that one. D, that's the answer that we're going to go with. Because here's the thing. It's not saying that it's impossible. It's not saying that you shouldn't do it. It's simply saying that a large market area is difficult to maintain knowledge on. And also keep in mind this. There's actually things in the National Association of Realtors that say that one of our code of ethics says that we need to make sure that we have the professional knowledge when we are working with clients. When we're working with clients, we need to have the professional knowledge to be able to represent them as best as possible. So if we're working in an area outside of our comfort level, if we're working in an area outside of what we're familiar with, we shouldn't be operating in that. And that's something that's a best practice, number one. Number two, that's also just ethical, legal, all that kind of stuff. So that's something that I would definitely think about in regards to what you're specializing in as far as a geographical area. So number 4, a real estate professional who oversees the day-to-day operation of a specific property on behalf of the owner is... Now, you probably, if you're looking at the answers, there's property manager, asset manager, maintenance technician, management consultant. So there's a couple different words here that you're probably trying to struggle through. So an asset manager, so let's talk about what an asset manager is in real estate. And that's not the right answer. I'm highlighting it, but it's not the right one, okay? The asset manager is someone who usually works for the banks, and what they do is they basically manage assets. So usually they're a go-between for REO, which is real estate owned or foreclosure properties. So they're not typically someone who's going to be taking on the day-to-day operation of a specific property on behalf of an owner, right? So that's not it. Maintenance technician, not a good enough answer. Management consultant, okay, but technically not the language that we would be using in real estate profession. We would be using the term property manager, okay? We would be using the term property manager. So the best answer for that one is going to be A, property manager. That's for number 4. So number 5, which of the following is a primary real estate brokerage activity? So we're talking about a primary activity, okay? Obtaining a zoning variance for a homeowner. That's something that you might get involved in if you have questions, concerns, or if you're just helping someone, but that's typically not a primary real estate brokerage activity. Appealing an assessed value for a client. Now, here's the funny thing is there's a lot of real estate professionals out there, very good, and what they do is they do a lot of tax appeals for their clients. I am one of them. I take care of that for my clients. However, what I'll tell you is this. That isn't necessarily going to be the best answer here either, because that's not something that's usually a primary real estate brokerage activity. We're going to look at assisting a developer to subdivide a property. Another one of those answers that you could do, but is that going to be a primary real estate brokerage activity? Probably not. That's something that you probably do once in a while. However, that's probably not going to be a typical norm primary real estate brokerage activity. So the best answer here is going to be D. And again, this goes to what is a good answer, what is an okay answer, what is the best answer that we're going to see. And also, like I said, type your chats in below because I'd be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability, because I'm looking at that every once in a while. So I see you guys. That's why I saw the Tanya putting in there, hey, can you center the screen? And like I said, I think I'm at the best place that I could be at with the screen. But I'm also going to watch this live stream again afterwards, and I'm going to do some self-critiquing and figure out maybe we'll get better by the time we run another one next week. And that's what my goal is, to run this every Saturday morning while we're in lockdown, okay? So 6. Let's talk about 6. 6 is... real estate industry is regulated by federal, state, and local laws, as well as by its own professional code of ethics. B, the local chamber of commerce. C, the Consumer Protection Agency. D, the Better Business Bureau. Okay? So, In this one, I just kind of gave you the answer. The realtors, the National Association of Realtors. So when you become a member of that trade organization, okay, we have what's called a code of ethics. Okay, so in the National Association of Realtors, there is a code of ethics. Okay, and it's something that you are, when you become a member of the National Association of Realtors, the local Board of Realtors, the state Board of Realtors, what happens is you are abiding by and you're agreeing to the professional code of ethics, which is updated every year. So if you are a realtor, what you're going to have here is you're going to have the ability to basically regulate yourselves, and basically, if there's any concerns or issues with other real estate professionals that are realtors, you're going to, it's definitely A. You're going to run into a situation where they're going to be the ones that are going to kind of help you out in regards to working with any disputes with another realtor. Now, if it's not a realtor, they're not bound by the professional code of ethics that NAR sets out. So you would have to go to local or state agencies, or you would have to bite the bullet and see if there's any kind of legal recourse that you have. Oh, you're quite welcome, Joyce. I'm also about 15 seconds behind, so when I see you chat something, I'm going to probably be about 15 seconds behind hearing it when you hear it on the screen. So thank you for the words of encouragement. I love doing this, and I want to continue doing this for you guys, so that's why I want to try to get better at this. Anyway, let's go to 7. The agency that administers and enforces license laws in each state is the A, State Department of Revenue, B, the U.S. Attorney's Office, C, the Real Estate Commission Council or similar board, D, the U.S. Court or U.S. Court of Appeals. So it's not the State Department of Revenue, it is not the U.S. Attorney's Office, okay? It is C, the Real Estate Commission Council or similar board. Now, again, I'm telling you guys that this is national material that we're going through. So what happens is if you are in a state that does not have a real estate commission, you might be in a state that there's the Department of State, stuff like that, that might regulate the real estate practices, okay, and enforces license laws, okay. And also keep in mind this: there's something that you'll have on your test, which will ask if your governing body, if they actually promulgate real estate laws, okay. That's a question that comes up on a lot of tests, and I always tell people, the governing body is strictly there to enforce license laws, so the interactions between licensees and the general public, and the real estate commissions, Department of State, stuff like that oversee the license laws, they do not promulgate real estate laws, okay? That's done by your state senate, things of that nature, okay? And your state bodies as far as your regular legislative process, okay? So now, we have the next one. In addition to specifying who must obtain a real estate license and requirements for obtaining one, license laws also define how licensees must handle escrow deposits, funds, and fees. B, the minimum commission split. Oh, that's definitely a no. Okay. C, how many salespeople in a broker's office can have active licenses at a given time. And D, how many brokers cooperate in a single transaction. So the answer to that is A, okay? So this is going to be how licensees must handle escrow deposits, funds, fees. They're going to outline how many people can actually do various different types of activities, how long you have until you can deposit an escrow fund, how long you must have it in there. Basically, they're going to be the ones who are going to basically define what that is, what those requirements are, okay? So all of the other ones, like I said, giving a minimum commission split as a salesperson, no. How many salespeople in a broker's office can have active licenses? No, because there really is, there is no limit on that. I mean, look, it gets to a point where you can have, if everyone in the state wants to work for the same broker, they can. There's nothing illegal about that, right? It's a free and open market. And how many brokers can cooperate in a single transaction? Yeah, you can have, as long as there's nothing illegal happening, you can have as many as you want. It doesn't matter, okay? So an investment property is 9. An investment property is Okay. Any property that yields a profit to the owner when it is sold? No. Any property that is used for the purpose other than habitation? No, I don't like that one either. Any property that is held by the owners for its investment purposes? That sounds better. And D, any property that produces a positive cash flow for its owner. So here's the thing: there is a lot of properties that, number one, do not create a positive cash flow. Number two, do not have a profit for the owner when it is sold. So those two, A and D, we're going to cross out right away. And those are not going to be the answer, okay? So because that doesn't define... Look, you get into investment real estate to make a profit, right? That's the bottom line there. So let's talk a little practicality. You get into investment real estate for either a long-term hold or a short-term hold. And I'm just kind of going into a little bit of a tangent. You either go into it for that long-term hold where you're saying, hey, I want to make equity over X amount of years, or you go into it for that short-term hold and you're looking for, either a big hit as far as a flip, stuff like that, or you're looking for some positive cash flow, right? But sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you make a mistake. I mean, look, I watch all those HGTV shows. There are some times where there's not money being made. So the best answer here is going to be C, any property that is held by its owners for investment purposes. So they're just identifying that property as an investment, okay? 10, a residential property is one that is occupied by no more than 5 families? No. Is used primarily for habitation? No. Is located in a residential zone? Oh yeah, bang bang. That's yeah. Contains a house. It could be a multifamily house. It could be a condominium. It could be a lot of things. So contains a house is definitely not it. Okay? Is occupied by more than 5 families. Here's the thing. Usually when they give you a definitive thing like that, like where it says is occupied by no more than 5 families, typically that's not the answer, because there are outlying situations that you could have. Like if you could think about a negative, right? If you could think about a negative, something that makes that statement not true, then it's probably wrong. Okay? So something like that that's super specific is probably not going to be the answer when you're in a situation like this. Okay? So C is located in a residential zone. So before I go on to chapter 2, I just want to ask if there's any questions. Pop them into the chat box. And like I said, I have about a 15-second delay. So you'll be getting them answered in about 15 seconds. So now we're going to talk about rights in real estate, okay? And if I do see any questions come in the chat, I will pause myself and I will give you a chance to have those questions answered, okay? And also, I want to just take a second out before we go into chapter 2 to thank everyone for coming on to the live stream and also watching this in replay. Again, hit the like button. Tell me what you're thinking about the stuff that I'm doing here, because I want to continue to do this for you guys. So, let's get chapter 2. So, real estate includes such things as, okay, such things as fences, sidewalks, piers on a parcel of land. Okay, that sounds really good. B, mobile homes temporarily parked on a parcel of land. No, mobile homes temporarily parked on a piece of land is not real estate. Timber that has been cut and is lying on the parcel of land. No, that's timber. That's personalty. Okay. What book are you using? Oh, that is such a great question. What I'm going to do is at the end, Leah, I'm going to tell you guys what book I'm using. I'm also going to pop a link in here. This is going to be my new book that I'm reading out of, and it's absolutely phenomenal, and I'll show you where you can get it on YouTube and on my Facebook group. I'm going to put it in a lot of places. Also, I'm going to pop it on Instagram. So I'll let you guys know what book this is, because this is the prep book that I recommend, and this is the new book that I am going to be working out of. So they were kind enough to send me some things yesterday so that I could work with you guys today and over the weekends on some of these things. So this is a really awesome book. But let's talk about what real estate includes. Let's go back to this. So we were saying D, business equipment an owner or tenant has placed on the parcel of land. So that's going to be something that is not it. C, timber is going to be personalty. A mobile home that's temporarily parked is going to be B. And then A, fences, sidewalks, piers on a parcel of land. That is definitely the answer. A, Bananarama. That's it, okay? Number 2, an improvement is a modification of land to make it more useful, okay? A modification of a structure to enhance its value. C, a structure intended as a permanent attachment to land. D, a parcel of land that has been prepared for development. The best answer here, okay? And again, this is why I really like these questions. The best answer here, if I had to pick one, is going to be C, a structure intended as a permanent attachment to land, okay? So, something that you are putting onto the property that is going to be a permanent attachment to land. A modification, so that word right there is not necessarily looked at as an improvement, okay? So a modification to the land to make it more useful, like grading it or doing stuff like that, or preparing it to have a structure put onto it, is not what we would consider in real estate to be an improvement. And also, an improvement is not a parcel of land that has been prepared for development, because D and A we could actually look at as almost the same answers, right? So really the answer here for number 2 is going to be C, as in Charlie. A structure intended as a permanent attachment to land. Number 3, the physical limits of land are, okay, let's read these. The surface of the earth and infinite space above the surface. B, the center of the earth and infinite space above the earth. Okay. And C, the surface of the earth and all water and minerals on or below the surface to the center of the earth. D, the surface of the earth and the air rights above the surface of the earth, point defined by local zoning. Oh my gosh, this is a crazy question. So you guys are probably reading this and going, Stu, I am absolutely lost as to what this could be, because this is a good question, okay? So when we're talking about land, we're talking about real estate, and we're talking about the physical limits of land. The physical limits of land, if you've never heard it before, are the center of the earth and infinite space above the earth. So basically, you're just taking a straight line and you're drawing it through. That is the physical limits of land, okay? So technically, you own that when you own real estate, right? But what happens is there's legal limitations, things like that, that prevent you from utilizing all of the land and all of the rights that you have, because there are regulations, there are things. But what happens is when we're defining the physical limits of land, it is B, the center of the earth and infinite space above the earth. 4, the bundle of rights refers to a set of rights, A, enjoyed by the owner of the property. B, that is inseparable from a parcel of real estate. C, guaranteed to citizens by the Declaration of Independence. Or D, specified in a deed or land contract. Well, it's a really simple answer. This one is A, enjoyed by the owner of the property. So when you own real property, it's said that you own a bundle of rights. I remember them by the acronym PEACE, which stands for possession, enjoyment, alienation, control, and exclusion. So again, I'm going to repeat that. That went fast, okay? So I always remember it by this, PEACE, okay? Ooh, if I could spell. Possession, okay? Enjoyment, okay? Alienation or disposition, control, and exclusion. This was given to me by one of my students on my last class. It was an awesome acronym, and I actually stole it from her. So I always take your recommendations, and I love seeing when you guys come up with a really good one. So it's A, and the acronym that you could use to remember the bundle of rights that are enjoyed by an owner of a property is PEACE: possession, enjoyment, alienation, disposition, control, and exclusion. Now, let's go to number 5. Number 5. The right to possess and use property are the right to possess and use property are inviolable, infinite and unlimited, limited by what the law allows, or D, dependent on the type of property involved. Well, they are not inviolable because I just told you that laws limit it, okay? And if they aren't inviolable, they're also not infinite and unlimited. So A and B basically answers that would go with one another, okay? And C, limited by what law allows? Absolutely. That's why the physical limits of land, when we're looking at the physical limits of land, and we say it's to the center of the earth and to infinite space above the earth, but then I use that caveat, without even knowing that this question was going to be coming up, I use the caveat of saying, hey, hold the horses a little bit, and we have to say that the laws are going to restrict us from drilling into the center of the earth, okay, right? So this question right here kind of enforces what I was saying back 2 questions ago. It's limited by what the law allows, okay? What the law allows. By definition, personal property, so this is number 6. By definition, personal property includes real property, is any property that is not real property, is any property owned by an individual, is real property that is not attached to the real estate. Ooh, this is a doozy. So let's agree that we can knock out some of them. And here's the thing, I was actually talking about this in my last class. Always try to eliminate 1 to 2 questions, because I had one of my students suggest, hey, if you're gonna guess on any question, guess the same letter each time, because it gives you the highest probability of potentially getting an answer right. And I rebutted with, oh God, no, please don't do that. I said, please. And if you're in the chat or you're watching again on replay, you know who you are. And here's the thing. I said this. Please try to eliminate one answer so you could have a 33% chance of getting it right, okay? I want you to increase your odds greater than 25% whenever you can. Getting to 50-50 or base is the best scenario that I could give you, but you want to be able to look at the questions and be able to identify what you definitely are going to cross out. So on this one, with me giving you that kind of explanation, on this one, and also you have plenty of time to take the test, so take it. By definition, personal property includes real property. The answer is wrong. So that one we're going to cross out right away. Okay, so that's wrong. The correct answer is B, is any property that is not real property. Okay, because C, is any property owned by the individual? No, because personal property is owned by, and real property is owned. So we can't identify that if someone has title to a property, that's personal property, because that's not correct. That's not a correct statement, right? And then is real property that is not attached to the real estate. So what would be an example of something that would be real property that is not attached to the real estate? There really is, there's only one that is real property that would not have some sort of method of attachment, because we know that our legal test for a fixture, and I'm going to give you more acronyms because I love you, is Maria, right? That's how we remember our 4 legal tests of a fixture. It's method of attachment, okay? Method of attachment, adaptation of item to the real property, relationship of the items to the party, attaching it, okay, intention of the parties attaching it, and then agreement. And what do I mean by agreement? I mean that if someone's purchasing the property, okay, that they're actually saying, and I know I spelled attach wrong, so bear with me. That is what between the buyer and the seller, if they agree, oh, that's staying. Oh, that's not typically the key to the front door. Yeah. Joyce, we're delayed. The key to the front door is real property that is not attached to the real estate. But that's real property. Okay, that's not personal property, but that's the key to the front door, is the only one that's going to be the answer to that. Because what happens is it's a unique one. And if you go back through my questions that that my daily real estate questions that I give you guys, that's one of my playlists on my YouTube channel. You'll see me answer that question, because the key is a unique has a unique relationship with the lock on the front door, which is that it is a part of it. It is actually attached to that. If the functionality of it attached it to the real estate. It's actually not physically attached, but it's attached in functionality. So the best one to answer this one is going to be, of course, B. So if you didn't get that, is any property that is not real property. So if it is not real property, it's considered personalty. Okay, what is another name for personalty? Personal property is also called chattel. And how is it transferred? It's transferred through the bill of sale. Okay, so it's transferred through bill of sale. So I always like putting that in there so that you kind of get a little more out of it. And that's why I'll tell you, when I go through the questions, it takes me a little longer, because I like to talk through the answers, and I like to talk through kind of what my knowledge of each of these terms are. So I'm thinking about it in ways that I'm describing this to you. I'm kind of like working through each question, and I don't look at it as an opportunity for me to answer the question, but an opportunity for me to have a discussion with you guys. So when you're answering questions, think of it that way. You shouldn't be able to blast through a test and just come out with, okay, I got a 75. Okay, I got this. But do you understand what you understood, and do you not understand what you didn't understand? That is the key to this, okay? Use the questions not as a guide to, am I going to pass, but as a guide to, what do I know? What do I know? Okay? So let's move on to 7. The right to encumber a property means that the owner can A, build fences and roadblocks, B, use the property as collateral for debt, C, lease the property, D, assign the bundle of rights to another. This is another tricky question. So what we have to do is we basically have to understand what an encumbrance is. Okay? An encumbrance is going to be something that limits your ownership of the real estate. So what happens is this: does building a fence limit your ownership? No, it does not. Does leasing the property limit your ownership? No, it does not. Does assigning the bundle of rights to another limit your ownership? Well, you can't assign the bundle of rights. You would be transferring ownership of the property, because we said, again, we established like several questions ago that the bundle of rights is when you own a property, okay? When you own a property, it is said that you have a bundle of rights. So the correct answer for this one is use the property as collateral for debt. And that is putting a lien on a property. So that is a financial claim, okay? And again, we're going to talk about what a financial claim or a lien is. They could be voluntary or involuntary. They could be specific or general, okay? And again, when you're answering questions, you want to talk to yourself through that. You don't want to just get the right answer. You want to understand, why is that answer the best answer? And that's the reason why. So number 7 is B. Number 8. Property owner has the right to transfer water rights. Has the right to transfer water rights, A, if the owner has not previously separated the bundle of rights. No, that's not it. B, only to the owner of an adjoining property. No, that's also not it. Only if the water rights are attached to the property. Yeah, it's C. Without constraint. No, you're constrained by law. So if you have water rights to a property, you can transfer your water rights, and it happens all the time. It happens all the time. You can lease water rights, do stuff like that. I mean, I have everyone across the country that follows me, and I'm grateful for that. So I live down at the Jersey Shore, so there's water rights, beach rights, marinas have rights, and they constantly are leasing, selling, doing all those kinds of things for people to use and enjoy the water rights there. So You don't have to be an adjoining property. You don't have to, again, separating the bundle of rights is not something you could do because that goes along with ownership. Without constraint would suggest that you don't have laws that are going to govern them. So C, only if there are water rights attached to the property, because not every property adjacent to water is going to hold water rights, okay? There are towns, there are examples that I could give you that you would be close to water and you would assume that there's water rights, but there actually are none. So the answer would be C. C. Only if water rights are attached to their property. So, number 9. A lease is an example of an transfer of the portion of bundle of rights. Oh, that looks beautiful. Let's keep going, though. Here's the thing. If you find a beautiful answer in A, make sure that you don't find a more beautiful answer in B, C, or D. Okay? So B, encroachment on the bundle of rights. No, it's not an encroachment because an encroachment is building a structure that crosses over a property line. So it's not an encroachment, so that's not right. C, a transfer of the complete bundle of rights. No, that would be called ownership, right? D, a transfer of the surface rights. Maybe? Like you could lease the surface rights or stuff like that. However, what I'm going to tell you is this. If we're just talking about a lease as an example of, the best answer is A. Remember I told you, I said, hey, that looks, I saw that right away and I was like, ooh, that is a beautiful, beautiful, cute little answer because it's transferring a portion of the bundle of rights. So if we remember our bundle of rights from up above and we use the acronym PEACE, right? Use the acronym PEACE. What of the bundle of rights are we probably transferring? The right to enjoy, the right to exclude probably, because tenants could probably exclude certain people except for the owner, right? You know, I mean, because that wouldn't be trespassing, that wouldn't be anything like that. So it's a transfer of the portion of the bundle of rights, okay? So A is the correct answer in that. Let's keep going. 10. Which of the following is included in surface rights? Okay, let's see. In surface rights, there would be air rights. No, this is surface. Surface rights would include subsurface rights. No, that would be mineral rights. Water rights. C. Ooh, that's kind of cute. And D, mineral rights. B and C are similar, if not same animals. Okay, so we can figure out the right answer by process of elimination, even if you don't know it. Again, talk to yourself. Do what I'm doing. Like that's how I'm coming to the answers. And here's the thing: I have them written down on the side here, so I'm just kind of double checking myself and making sure I don't speak out of my wazoo, which I typically don't. I'll tell you stories and I'll be long in the tooth. However, I won't talk out my wazoo. And right here, we eliminated 3 answers right away just to get to our best answer, and that's C, water rights. So talk through the questions, read them thoroughly, and understand what they're asking you. That's how you're going to win at the test. That's how you're going to win at test taking. If you're not taking your practice exams this slow and this methodical, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it too fast. You're doing it too fast. And I always relate it to this. I'm a hockey player. If you saw my build and my physique, you probably wouldn't have guessed it because I'm a short, portly, stocky, little fat man. Okay? And what I'll tell you is this. I have several ways that I practice, and my story it comes full circle, so bear with me. There's several ways that I practice, and I've been playing since I was a young kid. One of the ways that I practice is I do my drills, and I sit there, and I practice in monotonous drill-like form, and I do these really, really boring, mundane drills to improve my hand-eye coordination, okay? That's not as fun as going and playing a game and practicing like that. However, what I'm going to tell you is this. Understanding and learning your concepts out of context, meaning going in and saying, okay, what is that? Okay, tell me more about that. And explaining it to yourself. You're going to get more bang for your buck doing that than if you actually just sat there and did the test. Think of the test as playing a hockey game. You're going to learn bits and pieces of it, but you're going to do that in an ancillary fashion as opposed to learning the material out of context, okay? So that's my best tip for you guys, okay? 11, the right to build a structure on top of an existing structure is an example of Ooh, this is a tricky wording of one. So let's read the answers. Is an example of the right to encumber? Is an example of subsurface rights? Because it's building a structure on top of an existing structure. So there's already one there, and we're going higher. So, Tanya, I know that you just typed that in, and I'm about 15 seconds behind you. What about water rights under the surface? This is a tricky one. Still considered subsurface rights because any water underneath the surface would be something like an aquifer or things like that. And although water will exist subsurfacely, we will still refer to it as minerals because what happens is they're going to be in conjunction with some sort of sediment or geological, critter down there. So some sort of sediment, bedrock, something like that, soil, soot, alluvian. So there's a number of things that are going to be there. So what happens is subsurface, we always have some sort of sediment or rocky deposit, okay? Kind of like an aquifer would be the best example that I have for you guys as far as a subsurface water. But when they're talking about water, they're talking about two different types of waters when they're referring to water rights. Water rights are either going to be riparian or littoral. And riparian rights, and again, I apologize about going off on a tangent, but this is what I want to do for you guys. Riparian rights are going to be your rivers, streams, or navigable waterways. And how I remember that is there's an R in it, rivers, streams, navigable waterways, okay? And your littoral rights are going to be your tidal bodies of water, so and large lakes. We don't have any large lakes up here in the East Coast in New Jersey, so that's not something that we have to worry about. However, if you're in a part of the country like Chicago, something like that, where you do have the large bodies of water, then you would have littoral rights that would include large lakes, okay? However, here we're going to be talking about tidal waters if we're talking littoral. So I hope that answers your question, Tanya. It's because, again, any kind of subsurface rights would be still considered mineral rights because of the nature of the science behind it. However, I digress. Number 11, the right to build a structure on top of an existing structure, so going up, kind of stacking it like Legos, okay? Number 11 is going to be D, air rights, because again, we're going up, right? So it's not the right to encumber, because the right to encumber is going to be either usage rights, it's going to be our easements and licenses, or a lien, right? Because we just spoke about what an encumbrance was. It's not going to be surface rights, because we also spoke about that's going to include water rights, things like that. It's not going to be the right to improve, right? Because an improvement could also include, see, what happens is here, I could see you struggling with C and D, but because of the way that they asked the question, structure on top of another existing structure, that's going up. That's indicating air rights, so the right answer to that one is D, air rights, okay? I'm going to take 2 seconds. I'm just going to take a sip of something. Keep my voice as moist as possible so that I could answer questions for you, and I'm glad that helped you. I just saw it in the text box, so I'm glad that answer helped. Water rights include the right to A, extract water from the water table, B, divert surface water onto an adjoining property, C, prevent a stream or river from flowing onto an adjoining property, or D, own and use a body of water on the surface of the earth. Okay. D is the best answer, because here's several things that you cannot do when you have water rights. You technically cannot extract water from the water table, okay? You cannot divert surface water to an adjoining property, so you can't, like, divert it to another property. You can't purposely do that. You can't build a dam and do something like that. And also, if you can't do B, you can't do C. So what happens is you would be struggling between A and D. But if you understood that B and C are things that you could not do, okay, if you just understood that, then, and also here's the thing, those two are really similar. So you should have been able to realize that was going to be the situation there. So The correct answer is going to be D, own and use. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes there is not ownership that is involved in water rights. However, it's definitely the use of the water, okay? So D is the correct answer on that one. Richard just saw your comment. When do you think PSI will reopen so I can pass this exam? I don't know. I don't have that answer. I don't even think PSI has that answer. It has not been communicated to me yet as far as what is going to be what they're going to be doing and when they're going to be opening. So and also let me know what state you're in, because also I think it's state dependent. I think some of the southern states have reopened the testing centers. However, in New Jersey, where I am from and where a majority of I know my viewers are from, they have not reopened, and they have been canceling some of the classes, some of the tests that have already been scheduled. So again, Georgia opened up yesterday. Yeah, Georgia. I always have Georgia on my mind. Love Georgia. It's one of my favorite places. South Carolina, too. South Carolina is actually where I'm going to. That's where I'm going to die. I'm going to die in South Carolina because I absolutely love that state. So if you're from South Carolina and you want to sell me a home when you get your license, leave a comment below and I will definitely buy a home from you. For South Carolina agent to say something gets my sale. You ready? 13. Littoral rights concern which of the following bodies of water? Oh, Stu, you already answered this for us because you're so amazing. Lakes entirely contained within the boundaries of an owner's properties. Streams and rivers. Navigable lakes, seas, and oceans. Or D, navigable streams and rivers are littoral rights. I think it's C, navigable lakes, seas, and oceans. And yeah, navigable lakes, seas, and oceans is going to be the correct answer because Stu already answered that for you. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep moving and grooving. If littoral rights attach to a property, the property extends to... This is a great question. Okay, because a lot of people don't know the answer to this. So right here, what I will tell you is this. Number 14. The answer, I'm going to tell you the answer right now, is A, the high water mark of the body of water. So if you have littoral rights, it extends, the property technically in a legal sense extends out to the high water mark of the body of water. Here's the thing with this answer. You either know it or you don't, okay? So, low water mark of the body of water, no. Center line of the body of water, no. The property line of the property that also has littoral rights on the opposite side of the body of water. No. It's the high water mark of the body of water. So, it's A. That's awesome, Bianca. So, you're scheduled for May 19th. Just keep an eye on your inbox to see if that actually changes, because I know some of my students that have had tests confirmed and had it scheduled actually have had the test canceled. So check your spam, check everything, and make sure that your test has not been canceled. And if not, good luck. And we'll have more classes like this. I'm going every Saturday like this until such time that we don't have the we don't have the lockdown, and even then I might still extend it. Also, too, I want to tell you guys, if you're watching this either on replay or live, if you have a test or a review or something that you want to donate to me and watch me go over live, do it like this, kind of tear it apart, please feel free to do that. Like if you have a practice exam from your school, send it over to me. I'd love to get it, and I will do the same thing, because again, I'm going to run out of material of my own if I keep doing this, and I want to continue to keep doing this. So please, I really want you to send me as much stuff as you can. And of course, obviously, with the permission of whoever wrote it, I try to make sure that I get permission too. Or if you just have something that's lying around, you're like, I have no idea where I got it from. Cool, send it over to me. I'll try to get it up here, because I want to try to answer as many questions as humanly possible. So let's keep moving. Let's keep grooving, right? 15. Which of the following is true of littoral rights? Okay. They revert to the state when the property is sold. They cannot be transferred. C, they are a personal right belonging to an individual not attaching to the real property. Oh, that was an awful answer, so we're going to cross that off right away. And they transfer with the property when the property is sold. So, yeah. So they transfer with the property when the property is sold is the answer. And hey, does anyone know what it means when something runs with the property? They refer to that as appurtenant. So whenever something runs with the property, it is an appurtenant right, or it is appurtenant, they simply say. So that's a buzzword too. And also, as much as you can when you're studying, use your big words. If you know a big word that you could use to describe it, use it, because this is a language, and what you want to do is you want to get used to saying the multiple different types of it's just vocab that you're going to have here. So this is D. They transfer with the property when it is sold is the correct answer, and that is an appurtenant right. Okay. 16. Riparian rights concern which of the following bodies of water? Oh my God, Stu, you already answered this for us, so we already know because we're smart. We're smart cats and kittens. You ready? Streams and rivers is going to be the answer. Why? Because it's riparian, streams and rivers. Navigable waterways. I say navigable waterways because I don't say lakes. You see, so notice how it says navigable lakes. Navigable lakes would fall under littoral, right? Large bodies of water, okay? Streams and rivers fall under the riparian rights, okay? So that is the answer there. So who owns the land under a navigable river? This is a great question. So underneath a navigable river, is it the owner's property that abut to the river? Is it no one? Is it the state? Or is it the municipality if the area is incorporated? The answer to this, because the river, this is the answer, and there's no process of elimination here, because the river could run in different townships, so it could run cross township, cross municipalities, cross state lines even. The ownership of the land underneath the river is actually owned by the state. C, as in Charlie, okay? So we have a few more questions here. I think there's 22 in this chapter. So so here's the thing. We're coming to like our last 4 questions or so. So if you have a question, now is the time to start typing it in there. Even if it's about something other than what we're going over, because you got me live in person. I'm on a 15-second delay, but I'm still going to get your questions. So this is your warning to put your questions in. Excuse me. So if a property has riparian rights, the owner has the right to pollute the water for a legitimate business purpose. Oh no. B, build a dam. I already told you that that's wrong. They cannot do that because you cannot divert water, okay? Require downstream property owners to pay a fee for the use of the water? No. Okay. So we're process of elimination. D, use the water in a way that does not infringe on another's riparian rights. Yeah. So again, if you're talking this out, talk out the questions, just like I'm doing, okay? Just like I'm doing. 19. If a property abuts a navigable river, where is the boundary of the property? Is it at the water's edge? Is it at the high water mark? Is it at the midpoint of the river or at the flood marker? And again, this is one that you just simply have to know, okay? This is something you just simply have to know. And the answer to this one is A, at the water's edge. So when we're talking about our littoral rights, right, it's the high water mark, okay? But when we're talking a navigable river, okay, it's at the water's edge, because I just told you that the property underneath the river belongs to what? The state. So if you knew this, you would know this, right? Because there's same. Okay. 20. What is a fixture? We already went over the legal test of a fixture, okay? And let's read the answers, though. It's any item of personal property located within the boundaries of a parcel of real estate. No, that would include my comic book collection, my fountain pen collection. I have a fountain pen collection for all of you who are wondering, which I know you weren't. B, an item of personal property that has been converted to real property. Yeah, that's probably going to be it. C, an item of real property temporarily placed on the land for the purpose of conducting a business. No, that would be owned by the business owner, right? That would be a trade fixture, which is considered personal property or property of the business. Or D, an item of personal property that has been left in one location for a period of 1 year or more. No, I leave my fountain pens sometimes in my one place for a long time. So the answer to this one is B, an item of personal property that has been converted to real property. And what we use in that one is we use the four legal tests of a fixture to identify, hey, is this a fixture or not? So the answer to that is going to be B, an item of personal property that has been converted to real property. We have 2 more questions before I leave you for the day, and you guys get to have some Pop-Tarts or some grilled cheese sandwiches. I love grilled cheese sandwiches in the morning. It's my favorite. Yes, I have the taste buds of a 5-year-old. Anyway, 21. Even though it is attached to a structure, an item may be considered personal property rather than real property if the original owner intended to remove it after a period of time. Oh, that seems like intention, right, in Maria? B, it can be removed without altering the appearance of the structure. No. C, it is unnecessary to the physical integrity of the structure. No. D, the owner installed it sometime after acquiring the real property. No. A, because that goes to intentions, right? It actually says it intended to remove it after a period of time. So the answer to 21 is A. Okay. Last question. 22. The level of government that is a primary regulator of real estate business is the county, the state, the court system, or U.S. Congress. The answer to this is going to be the state. B. And that right now, guys, is it. Again, I'm on a 15-second delay, so I'm going to wait a little bit. Make sure that you guys have everything answered. So I'm going to go through the chat one last time. Leah, you have learned a powerful lesson in procrastination. I will tell you this. If you call the state up, they will be able to tell you if they are going to be extending. So please do contact the Real Estate Commission, the New Jersey Real Estate Commission, and they'll be able to help you out in regards to if they're going to give an extension and how long the extension is going to be. Okay, so and they could help you, but I also think it's a function of PSI. So if you go onto your PSI account, I think there's a way to actually request an extension there as well. And I don't know if it's 30, 60, or 90 days. Don't quote me, but that is a way that one of my students said that they went on and did that. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you, Tanya. You got a lot of clarity on it. That's awesome. Like I said, I'm going to be doing this every Saturday and recording it. Excuse me.